Hello, fellow holistic vocalists. Welcome to my vlog about what to do if you're on tour and your voice is burnt out and you are, what am I going to do? I've got loads of gigs left to do. I've spoken to other singers who've been in this position, and I myself have found myself in this position quite a few times actually. Particularly Christmas 2015, I was touring Japan with Incognito, and there were 23 shows to do over 2 weeks. I got to Japan after 3 flights. It was obviously exhausting. 3 flights of air conditioning all the way, sitting on aeroplanes. Very, very cold. It was winter. There was snow on the ground, so it was really cold when we got there. And then the hotel was obviously very hot and dry to try and warm everybody up. Now, they do have humidifiers in the hotel rooms, mostly in Japan, but I couldn't get mine to work. And my voice just felt like a little shriveled up walnut. And I thought, how the hell am I going to cope? I feel like I'm already wrecked and I've not even started the tour, but I managed. And here's some of my tips to show you how I did that. Now, this is from my personal experience. I know that there's probably loads of other great ideas out there as well. So what I would say, start with though, number 1, the thing that I knew would get me through is having a pair of in-ears. These things, moulded. You can get them moulded, they go in your ear, and you can hear yourself in-ear monitoring. It's a voice saver. You can get just generic ones as well. Obviously, these cost a little bit more. I got mine done up at Handheld Audio. I think they're based up North East London, Enfield, that kind of way. But there's lots of places where you can get them done. Just Google it, in-ear monitoring. If you don't already have them, they will save your voice because you don't have to push. You can just sing with a really comfortable technique. You can use lovely dynamics and textures in your voice, and it's not just belt, belt, belt all the time. The band that I was touring with, Incognito, there's 11, 12, 13 people in the band. That's a lot of firing on all cylinders vocally if you don't have great monitoring. And if there's that amount of people on stage, even if you have great monitoring, it's still going to be loud. It's going to be difficult to get over such a powerful band. And what I found when I first started using these was I had to change my technique a little bit. I probably got into the habit of using a technique that worked with floor monitors. And all of a sudden I had to relearn how to just use my natural resonance. It was quite strange, but once you get used to it, it's how it's supposed to feel when you sing. It feels great, it feels comfortable. You don't have to push, you won't get muscle fatigue. So in-ear monitoring is the way forward. Now, I could talk about sleep, but in that particular situation, it was Japan. I was jet lagged to high heaven, and obviously, if you're traveling a lot, it can be really, really difficult to get in the right amount of sleep that you need. I would say don't take sleeping tablets because they really dry up your voice. I believe something like antihistamines or something is an ingredient in sleeping tablets. And that will really dry your voice out. So if you have a day off the next day and you just really need a good sleep, perhaps take a sleeping tablet. But if you're singing each day, avoid sleeping tablets. Try and just nap wherever you can. I have been on stage again in Japan another time, having taken the sleeping tablets, having felt really pleased with myself after a good night's sleep. Couldn't get my upper range out at all. My voice just dried up and I couldn't get past a certain point. Very frustrating. Steaming. Steaming is so, so important. It's the only way you can fully wet your vocal cords. You should be drinking and keeping your body hydrated all the time, and that will in turn give you nice, moist vocal cords. But the only way to actually get water droplets onto your vocal cords itself when they feel very dry is to breathe steam through your nose. Now, I used to have a little plastic portable steamer which broke, but you can get them off Amazon. They're about £5. But to be honest with you, after that one broke, I found that just getting a mug of hot water, steaming hot water, take a travel kettle if you're going to places like Europe where they don't tend to have kettles in the room. Asia are good for that sort of thing. I think even the States might have had a kettle, can't remember, maybe not, I took my own. Steamy water, get a little towel and then close it all around your nose and mouth area and just breathe breathe in steam, breathe it in. You can also open your mouth and get all that humidity down into your throat, because humidity promotes healing in the voice and actually in all areas of the body. So steaming is so important before you warm up, after the gigs, and just when you feel like you really need it. Warming up, I don't even need to tell you. I'm sure you're all in very good habits with your warm-up routines. Make sure that you're not warming your voice up for so long that you're kind of over-tiring yourself, though. Make sure it's feeling more flexible and that you've warmed through your range and you can feel what your voice is capable of that night. But don't sing for so long in your hotel room that when you get on stage you're already tired. I think that goes without saying. Now, this was the really important area of technique that I used on that particular tour in Japan, and always do, is really listening to your body and how the muscles around your larynx feel. So for instance, when I first got to Japan, everything felt very tight and shriveled and small. And there were two ways that I kind of approached it. One was to use a lot of forward resonance, because I know I have my in-ear monitors. I knew I could sing with a certain cap on the volume that I was having to produce, not having to push, and using like a bright forward resonance, almost a twangy sound, to just let it sing out. So I feel that's coming right out the front of my nose. It's like shining out of the front of my face, rather than which is really a muscular push here, and too much volume. You don't need that much volume. If you have a good front of house engineer, as we did in Incognito, they will do the work for you, and you can just lay back and let that natural resonance come out. The other way I approached it is, if I was feeling a little bit tight up here, trying to kind of lower my larynx a little bit and open up the throat. So, which creates a nicer, warmer, deeper tone. And if you are in particular feeling like a little bit tight, you might feel that your tone suffers. So just opening up. I remember there was one song called Pieces of a Dream, which I had to sing. So I would either be singing, "Before you go, I'd like to say," or "Before you go, I'd like to say." So there's two different kind of approaches there, but they worked for me. And then eventually I would start to feel all the muscles all around my throat area relax and open up and loosen up, and eventually I could just sing with a natural technique without having to think about it too much. But one thing I did do and always do and would suggest is to use a lot of colour and a lot of vocal qualities in your singing. Don't just stick to the same thing. Remember that there are beautiful ways of expressing yourself that's not always belt. It doesn't always have to be massive. Now, this band Incognito that I've been touring with does require a lot of funky, sassy, high dynamic sounds, but there's lots of different ways you can recreate things. You can rely on different tones. You can look at twang. You can look at sexy, warm breathiness. You can use your head voice. You can use a twangy, funky head voice like Prince to hit your high notes. You can rely on your movement and the passion that you're selling the song with, and your amazing stage outfits to sell you as a singer without having to rely 100% on a big, big vocal. Believe me, people will really love what you do if you just show this vibe that you're really into the music and you're looking cool and you're dancing and you're producing lots of interesting sounds. It doesn't always have to be massive diva. So that's kind of what's really worked for me. I've written my notes down here, so I'm just going to have a look at them. Oh, be aware in the day of how you talk. Talking can sometimes be more irritating to the voice. I think as singers, we rely a lot on our vocal technique. We know about our vocal technique, but we don't necessarily know about our speaking technique. And it's really important to speak with lots of expression so that your vocal cords are being used in a very flexible way, and try not to just be like really relaxed and just talk like that with a really low larynx, with your vocal cords just grinding together. And try and not talk at all. Just chill out in your hotel room in the day, watch some films, read some books, have a bath. That'll be so good for your muscles, and breathing in steam, and just relax. It's exciting when you go to other countries for the first time. You really want to go out, you want to see everything, but you have to balance socializing with rest. And if you are speaking, like I said, use a lot of colour and try and use that forward, bright sound in your speaking voice. Try not to kind of over breath everything. Just wrap yourself up in cotton wool, really. Sleep well if you can, eat well, stay hydrated, don't go out and cane it, and just vary the style of vocal sounds that you use. If you have to ad-lib a lot, that's great. That gives you space to do sweet things in your head voice. Doesn't always have to be, it can be sweet and soft and interesting. So explore lots of different sounds. Wrap yourself up in cotton wool. Think about what's happening in a muscular sense here and avoiding using tired muscle groups, and get yourself some in-ears. I hope that's helped. Touring is hard, touring is grueling, it can be exhausting. You have to find your own way with it. Hope some of these tips have helped.